Hi everyone, welcome to Medicine for the Soul. I'm Sarah. Today's third trimester prenatal yoga practice is round ligament pain relief. You'll need your bolster or pillows, your blocks or block substitutes, and a folded blanket. Let's get started. Welcome. We'll begin on our mats in a reclined position. So any props you have at home that allow you to get to this reclined position is great. I have a couple blocks and a bolster. You're probably familiar with this setup by now. Once you're there, you can back yourself up and just gently lie back. Allow yourself to really feel fully supported by your props. Legs can be outstretched, and let's just kind of shake our legs out, shake your feet. Maybe you want to do a couple ankle rolls or a couple wrist rolls while you're here. And we're just gonna take a few deep breaths, settle in, take a quiet moment. Let's bring our hands to the side of our belly, so right where your ribs end on the side. So this is going to be a little breathing exercise that is good for round ligament pain relief, but also if you're having any abdominal separation, it feels really nice. So you may have already been doing this, but we're going to take a nice deep inhale with our hands on the sides of our bellies. And on an exhale, just gently draw your hands towards the center of your belly, kind of pushing the two sides together gently. And inhale, bring your hands back to the side. And exhale, drawing your hands together. And continue this whatever pace feels good to you. Sometimes there can be like a burning sensation down the center of your tummy or at your belly button, and that can be a sign of some abdominal separation. And of course, our round ligaments attached to our uterus, which is, our uterus is probably the size of like an orange or a fist before pregnancy, and during pregnancy it stretches to the size of a baby, like a like a large pumpkin or a watermelon. So these ligaments undergo lots of stress and stretching in these 9 months. Let's take a couple more breaths here. And after your last breath, you can bend your knees, bring your feet flat to the mat, and let's keep our feet wide, maybe like the width of our mat. And just gently drop your knees side to side, kind of a widened windshield wiper here. And when you're ready, bring your palms flat to the mat and gently bring yourself up to an upright position. If you want to grab your blanket, or if you sit on a cushion, grab that. And you can set your other props off to the side, and we'll come right back into our little wide-legged position here. Sitting propped up on our blankets. I'll turn to face you. So sits bones right on the edge of your blanket, just to keep our pelvis upright, which can be difficult when there's so much weight on the front of us. You can even close your eyes here. We're just gonna sit here for a moment. And let's inhale, right arm up and over to our left ear. Exhale. Gently bring your head over to the right, chin pointing slightly down. And release on an exhale. Inhale, left arm up and over to the right ear. Exhale, over to the left. And release on an exhale. Let's roll our shoulders back one at a time. And forward one at a time. And you can shake it out. And while we're here, let's just bring our hands to either the floor or grab your blocks and put them not too far in front of you, but far enough that you're getting a little bit of a stretch, coming forward just slightly. Remembering that we don't want to go to our limit here as far as stretching goes. Let's take one more breath here. And come back to an upright position. And now bring your feet to either soles of the feet together. You can prop your knees up with some blocks or cross-legged, whichever feels good for you today. And let's inhale, arms up. And exhale. Inhale, arms up. Right hand grabs your left wrist. Exhale over to the right. Gaze left, creating some space here in your side body. And come back to center on an exhale and release. Inhale, arms up. Left hand grabs your right wrist. Exhale over to the left and gaze right. And come back to center on an exhale. Keeping your left leg folded in. Extend your right leg out to the right. Inhale, left arm up. And exhale. Slide your right hand down towards your right ankle. Reaching over to the right. Gazing left. Relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw. Maybe send a nice deep breath into your left side body. And coming back to center on an exhale, switching sides. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, reach over to the left, sliding your hand down your left leg. Nothing too extreme. Just a nice gentle stretch. And coming back to center on an exhale. We're going to come into all fours. So if you'd like to keep your blanket for your knees, you go right ahead, or you can set your blanket off to the side. Coming into cat-cow, this is a great movement for your round ligament pain. It's great for everything really, but especially for round ligament pain. So we're going to make sure our hips are over our knees, shoulders over your wrists. Inhale, slightly lifting the tailbone, nothing too crazy. Beaming our chest forward. Exhale, push the mat away from you. Give your baby a hug. Tucking the tailbone, gazing towards your belly button. If you can see your belly button anymore. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do one more. Inhale. Exhale. Coming back to your neutral spine, bringing your knees wide, coming into a child's pose. You can reach for the top of your mat and place your forehead on the mat. You can stack your forearms and bring your forehead to your forearms, or you can bring your blocks with you and do it that way. Wherever you're at this point in your pregnancy, if this feels good for you, that's great. If you need to modify, no problem. One more deep breath here. And lift your forehead off of the mat, coming back into all fours. We're going to extend our right leg back, tucking your toes. Inhale, lift your right leg up and over to the left. And look over your left shoulder at your right toes. Nice deep breaths. And lift your right foot up and over, bringing your knee back to the mat. Switching sides, extend your left leg back, tuck your toes, pushing the mat away from you, making sure that we're filling the space between our shoulder blades. Lift your left foot off of the mat over to the right and gaze right. And lift your left foot up off of the ground onto your mat, coming back into child's pose, bringing your knees wide. Whatever modification you choose. Let's take some deep breaths here. And lift your forehead off of the mat again, coming briefly into all fours, just long enough for an inhale, and tuck your toes. Exhale, push up and back into downward facing dog. You can pedal your feet out here. We're going to stay here for 3 breaths. 1, 2, 3. We're going to bring our knees back to the mat. If you want to grab your blanket for your knees, we're going to come up onto our knees and bring our left leg out to the left, foot flat on your mat, facing the same way you are. So firmly planted on the mat, and we're going to inhale, right arm up. And exhale, reach over to the left. You can put your other hand on your baby. You can put your hand on your hip for stability. And coming back on an exhale, inhale, left arm up. And reaching over, maybe coming down onto your right hand, maybe grabbing a block and resting on that. And coming back to an upright position on an exhale, switching sides. So extending your right leg out to the right, toes facing forward. Inhale, left arm up. And exhale, reach over to the right. Coming back to center on an exhale. Inhale, right arm up. And exhale, reach over to the left. If you want to grab a block for stability. Nice deep breath. And coming back up to center on an exhale, bringing both knees back to the mat. Repositioning so that you're facing the front of your mat if you're not already. Hands to the mat. Inhale, tuck the toes. Exhale, push up and back for downward facing dog for 3 breaths. Let's take our feet wide actually, and let's, on the inhale, bend your knees. Send your hips up and back. Exhale, straighten out your legs. Inhale, send your seat back. Bend your legs. Exhale, straighten out. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Bringing your feet closer together. Inhale to prepare. Exhale completely and step forward into a forward fold. Nice wide legs here, wide stance, soft knees. Nice wide stance in your forward fold. Enough room for baby. Soft knees. Let's slowly rise up into Tadasana. Rolling our shoulders back and down. I'm going to briefly turn to face you here. So let's stand with our feet a little wider than sit bone distance apart, and we're going to just kind of sway here side to side, finding our center, finding our balance. We're going to be shifting all of our weight onto one side, onto our right side first. So once you feel grounded, you can begin to shift your weight over to the right, lifting your left knee off of the ground. If you need to grab a chair or be near a wall, that's fine too. Lifting your knee up in front of you and opening your hip. We're coming into tree pose. Your tree pose can look like a kickstand today. It can look like your foot on your calf, or it can look like a foot on your thigh. Anywhere except for the knee. And so we'll stand here. You can close your eyes. If you don't feel that steady on your feet, maybe you want to keep them open, but find that focus point here and breathe. You can bring your arms out for branches. You can bring your hands to your baby. And from here, we'll take one more breath. And then bring your left knee back in front, lift off of the mat, and on an exhale, send your left foot back, not too far. We're coming into an Anjaneyasana, so we're going to bring our left knee to the mat, shoelace side of your feet on the mat. You can grab your blanket if it feels good for your knee. And we're going to inhale, arms up, look up. And exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to stay right here, and we're going to go back to our breathing that we did at the beginning of our practice. So while we're here, you can bring your hands to the side of your belly. Inhale through the nose, and exhale, squeezing gently sides of your belly together. Again, going at any pace that feels good for you. Relaxing your jaw and your shoulders. There's a slight tuck of our tailbone here. And let's do one more breath. And we're going to inhale, right arm up. And exhale, reach over to the left. Nothing too crazy. And coming back on an exhale, inhale, left arm up. And reach up and over to the right. Coming back on an exhale, bringing your hands to the mat. Tuck your left toes, step your right foot back, and push back into a downward facing dog. We can bring our knees wide, and we can, on the inhale, bend our knees, send our hips up and back, and exhale, straighten out. Inhale, exhale. One more, inhale, and exhale. Bringing our feet closer together. Inhale, look forward. Exhale completely and step forward into a forward fold. Nice cozy forward fold, making room for baby. And we're going to inhale, rise up slowly. Roll your shoulders back and down. I'll turn to face you again. So we're going to, again, sway kind of back and forth a little bit just to find our ground, find our center, eventually shifting our weight over to the left side. So once you're there, you can begin to lift your right foot off of the mat, bringing your knee out in front and opening your hip, coming into your tree. So whatever your tree looks like, maybe you have branches, maybe your hands are at heart center, maybe you want to get centered with your baby. Finding that focus point either in your mind or in the room with you. One more breath. And then begin to bring your right knee back in front, and on an exhale, step your right foot back, bringing your right knee to the mat. Again, placing a blanket underneath if that feels good. And we're going to inhale, arms up, look up, and exhale. Now you can do some breathing again with hugging your belly in, or you can go right into some side reaches. Inhale, right arm up, and exhale over to the left. And you can do a few of those on each side, or you can come into hands at heart center. Or maybe you want to do some little baby back bend work. Inhale, arms up, and gently bringing your hands back, gazing up towards your hands, and coming back upright on an exhale. So you've got options here. Making sure our hips stay square to the front of the mat. Shoulders down and away from the ears. And wherever you're at, let's do one more breath. Bringing your hands to the mat. Step your left foot back. Inhale into your plank and exhale into your downward facing dog, bringing your feet wide. And bending your knees on the inhale. And exhale, straighten out. If that bothers you for some reason, or you're just not feeling it, you can, of course, do your regular down dog, or you can bring your feet close together and then bring your heels over to one side and point your toes to the other. You get a nice stretch that way. Let's do one more breath here. And on the exhale, bringing your knees to the mat, coming back into child's pose, your version of that. Sending some nice deep breaths down to your baby, feeling yourself expand on the inhale. Imagining that breath going right to your womb. And exhale completely. Imagine your tailbone reaching down towards the mat. And lift your forehead up off of the mat. Walk your hands back so you're in an upright position, and you may want to grab your blocks and place them behind you if you can't reach the floor at this point, and place your hands on your block. And we're going to inhale, shine our chest up towards the ceiling, and gaze up. Just a slight, teeny tiny back bend. One more breath here. And you can come back to an upright position and remove your blocks if you used them. We're coming into toes pose. So as you know, we're gonna bring our knees close together, tuck your toes, and come to sit back on your heels. And here you can close your eyes. You can practice your Ujjayi breath or ocean's breath. And you can also start envisioning your ideal birth, your perfect birth from start to finish. Imagining your confidence and strength and the ease with which your baby slides into the world. How you're surrounded by all the love and support you could ever imagine. Swirl your shoulders back and down. Imagine the crown of your head reaching towards the ceiling. We're doing one more breath here. After your exhale, coming onto your hands and tapping your toes out. And we're going to set up our reclined position here. So however you got there before, we're going to do it again. Gently lying back on your props, keeping your knees bent, feet flat on the mat. We're going to bring our right ankle to our left thigh. Wherever your foot feels comfortable, you're obviously going to get a deeper stretch the closer your foot is to your bottom. You can also, while you're here, press your right knee away from you. A little bit of a different, deeper stretch. If this pose at this point is not accessible to you at all, you can come into Baddha Konasana, just soles of the feet together. We'll switch sides. Bring your left ankle to your right thigh. Again, play around with your options. And bring your foot back to the mat. Now we're going to modify our little recliner here, so a little less of an incline, because we're going to come into legs up the wall. So we're going to be on our backs. We don't want to be too far onto our backs, of course, because during pregnancy you want to kind of avoid that. But just maybe one block, or if you have a stack of pillows, maybe you just bring it down to maybe 2 pillows instead of 3 or 4. And find a wall close to you. So we're on a little slight incline, and maybe bring your blanket to place under your bottom there. Make sure you don't kick over any plants. And so legs up the wall is safe to do in pregnancy. You know, as long as you're not on your flat back for too long. And it is also really great for any swelling that you may have in your feet or ankles. So if you're dealing with that, this is going to be really nice to kind of counteract that. Especially if you work on your feet all day. It's also a nice relaxing pose when we're in a position where our feet are above our heart. It sends a message to our nervous system, kind of deactivates the fight or flight. So it says, I'm safe, I can relax, it's all good. And while you're here, you can bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your baby. And I would encourage, again, visualizing your ideal birth. And if your eyes are closed, maybe start fluttering your eyes open a little bit. Walking your feet down the wall. And rolling gently and safely over to the left. So you can come back to an upright position. And from here, I will encourage you to take a nice long Shavasana. I don't want to limit you on the amount of time that you take your Shavasana, so I won't include it here. But options for that, again, are this wonderful recliner position, or lying on your left side with a bolster or a pillow between your legs. Just let your practice settle in. Maybe try some more breathing exercises or visualizing. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you soon.